Ebusuafo ne adofo ya ma munyina akwa abakese eba HRTV so dwumadi a ya to ne this time with Tatapsen and ye de bremo in enwumre mo somfo a medi dwume ho chia me edi a mejeso ne PK Ofori-Asenso Sabre mema munyina akwa aba baby bia wo bia ho nchia kese pa na mede ma mo producer directors a omugina fide nechi emia fide ne from ye de fide dwumadi ebrel eye na Lord ana na kwesi wide out so na Danny any A class so airboa my jumede airbramo. Ambassadors so a mo na mo jumede so ye in check a mamo. So na yaba RHODA. I yen in the better come lawyer RHODA FRIMPONG. So yama kwaba se wa jumede so. Baby bia will be a bium or hon check a na mede no. Now as usual, this show always starts off in tree for our commercial purposes. Then after that, we will branch off into the English version, whereby it will be strictly transcribed in English. Then after the first segment, we will do the Q&A session with Tatapsen, where any questions or issues or concerns that you have with Tatapsen, we'll take it from there. At this point, we would like to take the opportunity to acknowledge our sponsors for helping us bring this program to you tonight. The idea kind of feel good services adarama and the idea ebro baby biara uwobia or say open mental health speaker and I say mental health educator bia look no further but feel good services my email address is feelgoodservices@gmail.com. into the message them, email them, and they will be able to help you sustain whatever you need. Ebi feel good homes, as say main country will say ope bia betimi do tiato ama bibia kama na afedie unya any issues bia with light with internet, but have a good cozy place with your family now, starting from studio 1 bedroom 2 bedrooms. Just so you know, December bookings is ramping up so crazy into go ahead and get your orders in as soon as possible or your bookings in as soon as possible. Contact Feel Good Homes at +233 208 149504, or you can still contact them at feelgoodservices@gmail.com, and you'll be able to get those nice apartments at Pokwase, East Legon Hills, and Adjungano. Also, Feel Good Homes have 4-bedroom houses that they are selling at a price of $230,000, and that you can call them and just negotiate that as well. Oswald Wellness LLC. So for us, you're located in Ohio or the DMV area, which is the DC, Maryland, Virginia, you can actually call this number right here, 513-268-2740, and get you your family nurse practitioner who can help you with your IV hydration as well as your weight management. And this nurse practitioner will be your primary care manager as well. So please call the number and get them taken care of. Financial ignorance in America, that is something that is killing a lot of people in America. A lot of family members, a lot of parents, and a lot of individuals have no idea some of the best ways to actually secure income protection as well as college fund for their kids dependents, and also avoiding good farming in the community in terms of any adversities such as death in the family. With that being said, please contact our sister Millicent Owusu at 937-321-2270 or 937-270-9882 so that she can help sit down with you and walk you through the process and get you the best policies that can help you navigate with you and your family to get a great deal. Also, don't forget she can help you set up a flexible work from home. That way you can still make money whilst still working on your day job. Tatapsen, the main reason why we're here today. Tatapsen is the main and the official sponsor for today's event, and it's easy, fast, secure, and convenient. Please download the app on your Google Play Store, your App Store, and make sure you put in the promo code PKP-KAY and get your $15 bonus on your first transaction. And after that, like I usually say, whenever you send money back home, please send me a screenshot of it, and I will help you get a bag of rice. So please do that. And if you do not have my number, once you join the HRTV platform, which the producer will put it up very soon, you can also go ahead and get access to my number and just send me the screenshot. Then I can get you the bag of rice. At this point, I want to say thank all our sponsors for really being there for us. And I know today's show is going to be crazy. It's going to be very, very fascinating. And we have a lot of people joining, on all outlets of the social media. So before we start and get our lawyer involved, I'd like to go to startups and listen to what they have from their chambers. Then after that, we can proceed with today's show. Director Danny, Akwa Baba Jimmy Day so.
Me Joseph PK.
Bibi aboko.
Nyame adum.
Eda nyame ase se bibi akoso boko. Na ade na ohumi ana wosre. Menti ase.
So many aju PK.
Ade dey tire wori aje batu we ba na rate dim.
Rate no you so in fact so one who say Bank of Ghana issue a EBS say many bureaucracy before. I mean,
I
yeah,
heard.
they want to regulate everybody, and so we need to go by the Bloomberg rate. And I say, and also the yes, I a mamba pa edjuma. The rate in there, the yebenyano ye good and one ye the your customers. But I mean, you can trust.
I heard said there was a strong warning said people cannot go above a certain threshold.
Yeah. So we had a meeting with them, and that is what they are trying to say. And you want to get to be no more about same say, omo pese, omo ye ajana one bisa. Oh, into there you send it at your own risk. I mean, people are giving excess. They've warned us. Say, we need to go by the rules. We are trying to abide, and like tap there, you can trust us. I mean, you making sure say CKBI is secured. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Any update from your corner?
Okay, and then updates, and I think we've had the good news. We've heard the good news.
Oh, wow.
I think last 2 weeks we were thinking about that 1%. I'm say, Almighty Trump person to remittances. But it looks as if say they will not be affected. So it probably will affect the traditional remittances and not those days in here. I mean, so that is a bit of a relief, kakra. Into 1%, and it might not affect us for now. Secondly, what I wanted to say is that we've achieved a big goal. I mean, sending money to China has been one of the toughest and business, business. Now with tap you can send money to China, which is
wow.
yeah, and it's very simple. I mean, people who are here who has been doing business with China transactions, and you could see say people do Alipay. And I think we chattels a day. We chattels. They have some help.
And can be transfer.
Yeah, my friend WeChat. I mean, it's tough. So we to mass and this guy will and the Western Unions are not giving you good rate too. But now official offer are you now to say you can send to China, which is a good one there. You're starting so Bibia person send this kako UK and so you can do it. They say na kaka crab na UK for no so eba betua PK ka last week PK say on ne braka nti ebia enche ne bra be de ne kan to betua the other way around nti ye hwe say bibia be ebe go through. We've always been talking about fraud for na omo de o tene o hono ma tene o mo no you're tightening your security no nti for somebody to just get you through tap is tough unless say one kasa uma ho kwan nti ye besere mo call bia bana so mo ask for code bia ne bibia be careful because wo ama ho kwan they cannot get to your phone and do what they want to achieve nti na piki kakra e wo hono no nti.
Now, what may say, with all the issues going on with America and China, no, how did approval with China being able to, we being able to send money to China and the possible, and is it a vice versa or just U.S. to China?
Okay, so this is a tap thing, right? This is not America. So
Okay.
tap you can send to.
No, but said the laws, the laws on based on the confinement of America into the America side.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. I think for whatever reason, how the mini legal intimidation how we were able to do it, but tap is registered in the UK and Belgium, right? Europe. So we have a certificate where we used to transact. So maybe they were able to play around it and get the access to from the US to that place. And that is what I would say. Honestly, is bigger than me. Finance for no legal for no bit much me.
Okay. Right. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was it. Pa say waiting my updates from what is going on from Tatopson. I think so, most of the people are waiting to hear what lawyer RHODA has to say. You know, you be trouble so. Nah,
Nyankasa kwa me panima we breti because enche me ba ho no naja. Ma be hwese wo be ma me kwan ma tren mu na obepam me.
Mr. Yeah, that was it. Why? So bye. Thank you very much for this is updates from Startups and Corners, and it was given to us by Director Danny, who is the director for USA and Canada Startups. And at this point, we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and once we come back, the next person that we're gonna be talking to will be our very own lawyer, RHODA A-FRIMPONG. You guys know how excited it is whenever we have it in the building, like Brother Sami would say. Also, I want to take this opportunity to remind you all that on the 16th of August, 2021, it's a Saturday, Ghana Music Awards.
I was at war, your friend Calibos, the only boss with what this. Do you know about TapTapSend? Unima Metro. TapTapSend is one of the easiest, convenient, reliable money transfer app you can get. You can download TapTapSend on Google Play Store or App Store. We download it and then you register. Register and you are good to go to send money across every place, many countries in the world. TapTapSend. I wouldn't that.
All right, thank you very much. At this point, we will call upon our very own lawyer RHODA A-FRIMPONG.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello and good
It's
evening.
it's always a great news to have you and exciting to have you here.
Always
We wish we could have you every week, but yeah, I know, very
I don't think my
impossible.
clients would like that very much. I need to be working.
I know, but you know, after 6 o'clock no upon, so I'm just saying. I mean, but at least once every 2 years. I'm just kidding. Once every
2 years,
quarter,
I like
once
that.
every quarter is not bad. You know, I know you're gonna like that. It's not be the car side though, but once every quarter won't be bad at all. But there's so many things going on. So
Yeah.
many things going on, and we are. This is the 8th month, and I'll say in the new administration. And can we still call it new? Or after 8 months, dear, oh yeah, crank was started ante. So we can call it new in this administration, and a lot have transpired, a
Yeah.
lot have happened, a lot of evolved, and we would like for you to just walk us through some of the changes that we are not privy to, as well as the future ones that are being anticipated, and see how best that we can embrace all this and find the best way that we can actually walk along with it. At this point, it's all you.
Well, thank you. It's always, I feel like Tap Tap is family. I always say that. So it's always a
Thank you.
pleasure to be here. So yes, I think we can still call it a new administration because every couple of weeks, something new comes out that wasn't part of the original agenda. So I think if you say it's new, you're not wrong.
I like what you did there. That was a good word play.
Yeah. I should be a politician, right? Okay. So for current updates, I'll start by saying again, my name for some people that are new. I'm not new to Tap Tap, right? I think Tap Tap, like I said, is family. My name is Rhoda, attorney Rhoda A-FRIMPONG, immigration attorney at BETHEL Law Group in Massachusetts, but I have satellite locations in two other, one in Ghana and one in Connecticut. But I have clients throughout the country and in some parts of the world. So if you need an immigration assistance, please give my office a call. I will post it there so you can have it. I'm Ghanaian. I always have to say that because I don't sound like it when I first start talking. I'm Ghanaian. My name is very Ghanaian. So please feel free if you want to ask your questions in Tree, you can feel free. I will respond in English because I'm more comfortable in that language. But please, we are your family. If you're not Tree speaking, I think I saw a Nigerian name here. It's giving, I think, Yoruba. I know I don't know much Yoruba, but please feel comfortable with whatever language you want to speak, so we can connect today. All right, so I have updates, a lot actually. So PK, you might not see me for another quarter because I'm packing everything into this session.
Okay.
But the go ahead.
Go ahead.
So it depends if you're following the news at all, but the one big beautiful bill, OBBB, passed July 4th, and in it included a lot of different things having to do with the government. I am an immigration attorney. Immigration is broad, but I don't focus on all aspects of immigration. So there's some parts of the bill that includes other areas of immigration that you will not hear me talking about. That doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It does not mean that it's not true. It's just immigration is really, really broad, like I said. So I'm family based. And so I'm the person that's helping you file for your citizenship, file for your family members to come here, file for your removal of conditions, file for your student visas. If you're looking for asylum, I know about it, but I'm not the person for you because asylum is a different area of work right now. So if you are interested in asylum, I would say contact an attorney that practices asylum well. Because a lot of the changes in the One Big Beautiful Bill does affect asylum as well as the fees. And so if that's something you're looking for, some information you're looking for, please just know that there's changes coming that I won't be touching on in this update. One of the major updates in that is the integrity fee. So because the government wants more money, right? They are finding, how do I put this? They're finding creative ways to get more money in hopes that it will fund more things here in the United States. Right now, if you are outside of the United States and you are applying for a non-immigrant visa, let's say a visitor or a student visa, you're paying about $190, I believe, or the equivalent in your country for the application fee. Now, what they are doing is that you would be also paying a $250 integrity fee. And what that is supposed to mean, it's almost like insurance, right? You're paying it in hopes that one day it'll come back to you. Now, you pay it on top of the 190 that you're paying for the application. You come to the United States. If you leave on time as you're supposed to, if you don't violate the terms of your visa, if you don't do anything that is it's a crime, then you are told that you will receive that $250 back after you leave. The specifics as to how that would happen is still unknown. If anyone tells you that they know how the government's going to refund you, I don't believe it because as of now, the Department of Homeland Security has not officially developed a program or at least publicized a program as to how they're going to refund you that money. But they will charge you the money. As to how you'll get it back, we don't know yet. So that's still to be determined. Which is why I was saying in the beginning that it's still a new administration because every couple of days there's something new that's changing about it. So that's number one. There's also big changes to non-immigrant visas in general. So that's your, visitors, your B1, B2, your F1, J1, M1, your H1B, all of those visas are generally considered non-immigrants. But as it relates to some countries, specifically Ghana, Nigeria, and a few other African countries, the US government has shortened the length of time that a person can have a visa valid for. And what that essentially means is that back in the day, literally 6 months ago, a person could get approved for a multiple reentry visa. So it's good for 5 years, which means that you can show up to the border, to the port of entry, maybe JFK, maybe Logan Airport, and show that visa and come into the United States and then leave and use that same visa to come back and leave until that visa expires in 2020, 2030 or whatever the year is supposed to be. Now, going forward, there's no longer a 5-year multiple reentry. There's no longer 10-year multiple reentry. There's single entry, and it's valid for 3 months. So before, where you would come into the United States and your visa would be, again, valid for 5 years, and you would be allowed to stay usually for 6 months. Now you are automatically allowed to stay for 3 months, and you can only use that visa once. That might not mean much to most people, but it will affect, from what my research, it will affect most of the individuals coming to America on a student visa. Because before, if you apply for a student visa and you get approved, your visa may be valid for about maybe 4 or 5 years. So during the time that you're in school, you can come during the semester, study, and then maybe go home for a Deti December, and then come back in, January for the semester and go back again on that same visa because it hasn't expired. Now, with this change, if you are approved and you get, admission to come into the United States on an F1 visa, once you enter, you can't use that visa again. So if you're going back home for Deti December or for someone's wedding or for someone's birthday or whatever, you're going to have to go back to the embassy to apply for another visa, possibly go to an interview in order to get the visa issued again and pay another fee. So that's a pretty significant change. I think, again, like I always say, there's a lot in immigration, but I don't share everything because not everything's relevant to everyone. But I think this is something that affects, if not you, someone that you know. So if they're coming into the United States and they've been accepted in school, or they're coming on a visitor's visa, once they enter, single entry, once you enter, that visa no longer can be used again, and it's only valid for 3 months. So that's one also big change. Another, and most of the changes recently have been focusing on the Department of State. So the U.S. immigration is one government, but it's divided into different legs. So see it as one body, two different arms. So there's a USCIS that's in the United States. So they're the ones that are processing your green card, your citizenship, your work authorization. Then there's a Department of States. So that's the people that are running the consulates and embassies overseas. They're the ones that are actually giving you your visa stamp. They're the ones that you're going to for interviews if you're out of the country. So most of the changes we've seen recently have been affecting that part of the body, because in the beginning of this administration, they were focusing more on the inside, the USCIS. And even as of, I want to say this week, I think Friday, or yeah, August 1st was Friday, there's been another update that I'll get to in a second. So up until about a few weeks ago, if you are under the age of 14, and you are going to come to the United States on a visit visa, maybe you're coming with your parents, or you're over the age of 79, maybe you're coming to visit, your grandchildren, you weren't always required to attend an interview. Generally, that was the rule. You didn't have to attend an interview. Interview waivers were pretty common. Now, if you are under 14 and over 79, you are most likely going to have to attend an interview. You are generally required to attend interviews for visitors visa, student visa, what have you. The ages between 14 and 79 were already required to attend interviews. So now they broaden it. So safe to say that just about anybody applying for a visa overseas will have to attend an interview unless the embassy decides otherwise. Okay, I'm running through it because I want to get to the questions and answers. So interview requirements for the renewals as well. So there was an announcement, I want to say early this week. The announcements come pretty fast, so it's kind of hard to keep track of when they come, but they're coming. For individuals who in the past, let's say your visa expired, and so you come to the United States, you stayed, you're going back home, it's expired, you want to come back to the United States. In the past, you would be able to file for a renewal without having to go to an interview. Nowadays, just about everyone applying for a renewal is required to go to an interview as well, with the exception of visitor's visa. So if you're applying for a B1, B2 visa and you are renewing that specific visa, you would not be, generally not required to attend an interview. If the consulate requires you to, obviously you would have to. It's at the discretion of the consulate. But if they allow you to waive your interview, then you wouldn't have to go to the interview and you'd be able to get your visa usually through the mail at home. All right, let's see. Naturalization. That's a big one because it's been up and down and all around. Beginning of this year, so January 20th, when our president was sworn in, I think about 5 o'clock in the evening, he signed an executive order attempting to put a stop to what's considered birthright citizenship. So that simply is when an individual is born in the United States, subject to U.S. jurisdiction, right? So you are born on U.S. soil or U.S. territory, you are considered a U.S. citizen simply by being born, irrespective of whoever your mother or your father is, doesn't matter what their immigration status is. January 20th, our president signed an executive order seeking to change that. And that change was supposed to take effect in February. Okay, the change was supposed to say that if you were born after that February date and your mother was not a US citizen or a green card holder, and your father also was not a citizen or a green card holder, then you, the child, would not be considered a citizen. That was what the law was supposed to be. Different courts shut it down by putting in injunctions in place. And then one judge ultimately put in a nationwide injunction. So an injunction basically in simple terms is a pause. If something was supposed to happen at 2 o'clock this afternoon, the injunction says it will not happen at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Okay, it will not happen. If it's indefinitely, it will not happen until the judge says otherwise. Okay, if the injunction is for 7 days, it will not happen for 7 days after that 2 o'clock deadline. So that's how an injunction works. So what happened was that the judge had set an injunction nationwide, meaning that every single person, every single country, whether you are every single state, whether you are part of the lawsuit or not, would not be subjected to this executive order that the president is trying to put into effect. What actually happened was about 20 states, I believe 2 cities, brought the lawsuit to court, telling the federal judge, that what Donald Trump is trying to do by stopping birthright citizenship is unconstitutional. And so the judge said, okay, everyone, not just the 20 states that are suing Donald Trump, but every state will no longer have to subject themselves to this policy that the president wants to put into effect. The case went all the way to the Supreme Court because Donald Trump's administration did not like this ruling. They felt as though one judge sitting in Massachusetts should not have the power to affect all the other states. Now, I know someone might ask me what states sued. Most of them are on the East Coast, and I believe there's 2 cities in California that were part of the lawsuit. So the Supreme Court basically said that Congress did not allow federal judges to have that much power. The most that the judge can do is limit the effect of the president's order to the people that are part of the lawsuit. So if you're part of the 20 states that brought this lawsuit against the president, then your state would not have to follow this executive order. That's what the Supreme Court basically said. They just limited the judge's power. One judge can't say, okay, whatever executive order that the president wants to pass is not going to pass in the other 30 states out of the country. It's only the individual states that brought the lawsuit. So that's what happened. So then people got scared, which is reasonable, because July 27th, that's when the executive order was supposed to go into effect, which this July 27th that passed last week, which means that if your state wasn't part of the 20 states that filed the lawsuits challenging this birthright citizenship, then you likely, if you gave birth August 1st, and you, the mother, did not have status, and the father also did not have status, there's a chance that your child would not also be considered U.S. citizen. That's what was supposed to happen after the Supreme Court made their decision. Well, gotta love America, because someone will always take the matter to court. So the ACLU quickly filed another lawsuit. And what they did is they created a class. It's called a class action lawsuit. And class basically means that any individual who is affected by this policy or this rule that is going to be put into effect, all of those individuals would be considered as one class, which then allows the judge to make a decision that would affect everybody in that class. Let me give you like an example. Let's say you're in a classroom and your teacher says, everyone in this classroom today, we're all going to Chicago for a field trip. Everyone in that classroom. So if everybody in that classroom is in the room, they'll be able to go on this field trip. That's basically what the ACLU did. They created a class of unborn children, of mothers in the United States, and said that anyone essentially that's part of that class would be affected by this lawsuit. Therefore, the judge should still stop the executive order from going into effect. I hope that makes sense. It's very convoluted. But the gist of all of it is that if you have kids tomorrow, next week, next Thursday, you're fine. Okay, whether you have status or not, you are fine. Your children are still considered U.S. citizens. Birthright citizenship is still considered the law of the land. If you're born in the United States and if you give birth in the United States and you don't have status, or the child's father does not have status, as of today, because the matter has again been put on pause, as of today, the law still remains that anyone born on U.S. soil is still a U.S. citizen. I won't bore you with too much of the law, but that's the good news. Okay. Now, another major change that I can say for sure, because there's a lot that the media says that isn't always happening everywhere. Or in some cases, that what the media puts out there, as an attorney, if I do, a deep dive and I dig deeper into the situation, I can realize that there are details that the media is not saying, which is why most people are getting scared. For example, there was in the news that green card holders could not travel outside of the United States. They weren't being allowed to come back. They were being detained because a few people who were green card holders had traveled and were coming back and they were detained. That's what the media says. If you dive deeper into the details, you realize that the individual that was detained had a criminal history, or the individual that was detained had some sort of fraud or misrepresentation in their history. So what you always see is not what it always is. So green card holders are still permitted to travel. They've traveled out and come back in without an issue. However, if you are a permanent resident, a green card holder, and you've had any sort of criminal history, whether it was 5 years, 15 years ago, assess the need to travel. That is what I'll say. Assess whether it's important or necessary to travel. The reason being is that when you leave the United States and you're coming back, the officers can pull up whatever happened years ago, even if you've served time and you've been, rehabilitated and all of that, they can still consider that as a reason to either detain you or deny you admission. So most of the stories that we are seeing of individuals who are being detained or having to go through secondary inspection or are having a hard time coming back into the country who hold a green card is because there's finer details that we may not know publicly. If you are considering applying for an application in this administration, please do it. Please do it. I say it because no time better than the present. I was telling people to apply early this year, apply last year, and some people didn't, and now we have what we have today. I'm saying please still apply because for the last, I think about 2 months, I have had clients who've applied and have had approvals consistently. I'm not saying I guarantee approvals, but I'm saying that, again, what you're seeing in the news is not always the case. Are people getting green cards? Absolutely. I've had cases that I did not think would get approved, but they did in a matter of a week, right? People are still becoming US citizens, so still apply. However, when you're applying, this is not the time for do it yourself unless you really know what you're doing. And even as an attorney who's been doing this almost 10 years, I still have to join some classes just to catch up and be updated as to how things are really being done now, because the practice changes just about every week. Okay. And the reason I say know what you're doing or hire someone who knows what they're doing is because there's a law that has always existed. A lot of the things that we are hearing in the news have always been. It's just now they're being magnified and heightened just to kind of instill fear in all of us. But there's a law that's always existed, and that law basically states that if you file for an immigration benefit with USCIS and you are denied for that benefit, if you don't have status or any other valid reason to be in the United States, you can be placed into removal proceedings. So removal proceedings is basically immigration courts where they start the deportation process. And if I have time, I'll go into that a little bit. So that's something that's always been. If you apply for, let's say you entered the United States on a visitor's visa 7 years ago, you got married, your spouse unfortunately did not show up to the interview, okay? And now your application got denied. In the past, they would just deny it and then that's it. And you could either file again, you can either work things out with your spouse, you had time, you had options. Nowadays, if you are denied, your case is usually referred directly to immigration court, and you will receive what's called a notice to appear. And that document is what tells you that your case has been moved from USCIS to the immigration court's jurisdiction. And once the case gets moved there, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're leaving the country the next day, because immigration court takes a long time, but it does mean your case is a lot more complicated. It's going to take a lot longer. It might be a lot more expensive, but it doesn't mean that you're being deported the next day. So I'm saying that to say if you are applying, thinking about applying, still go ahead. But even USCIS themselves issued out a policy update, I believe on Friday, strongly encouraging and emphasizing that they are going to scrutinize applications. And if you're applying, make sure that you have a strong case right out the gate. This is not the time to send the application and we'll submit evidence later. Because if they deny your case before they even call you in for an interview, you don't have a chance to now appeal. You don't have a chance to now send evidence. They're just sending your case to court. And your case, again, becomes a lot more complicated. So you can still apply, and I'm highly recommending that people apply, because not applying leaves you at risk of removal because you're here without status and documentation. People sometimes say, well, if I apply, they'll know I'm in the system. Believe me, they know you're here. Okay, you entered the United States with a visa. You took biometrics, all right? They know you're here. They just don't think you're that important right now. Commit a crime and it might change. Okay, so if you have the ability to, if you're married to a US citizen, or if you have a strong case for some sort of an immigration benefit, contact an attorney, and apply. Have a strong case, because again, people who are applying are being successful, but you don't want to do it just anyhow. Because if you do, they are enforcing the policy that's been there for years, that they will send your case to immigration court. And I can confirm that they actually will. They actually will. Again, it's been like that for years, and I've done this for about 10 years. I haven't seen many cases sent to immigration court after denial, but it's happening. It is happening. So I'll touch briefly on what removal proceedings are, because it's becoming more popular now. People are hearing that, oh, they're sending me to court, they're sending me to court. What exactly does that mean? So being sent to court does not mean that, for the most part, that you're being deported the next day. Right? If you're being sent to court, that means that the law is actually giving you what's called due process. They're giving you a chance to defend yourself. You entered 27 years ago. You came on a visitor's visa. You've been hiding, on the low for a while. You got married. Application got denied because you didn't submit the proper evidence. Now they've sent your case to court. They're not deporting you the next day. What usually will happen is that you'll get a notice to appear. It's a document that they'll send to the address they have on file, the most recent address. So if you've moved since you last updated your address, they don't care. That's not their responsibility. As long as they know that they sent it to somewhere that is associated with you, they're fine with that. But if you do get a notice in the mail, it will be a notice to appear. It'll tell you the dates of your court hearing, the location of the court hearing, the time of the court hearing, and that's when you're supposed to show up. Please show up. Whatever you do, show up. Even if you don't have a lawyer, show up. I don't suggest going without a lawyer, but show up. The reason I say that is because if you don't, it's not like criminal courts where sometimes they can, reschedule the hearing. If you don't show up, the government can ask and the judge can order you to be removed out of the United States in your absence. So failure to show up to immigration court does not mean that they'll reschedule you to another day. That'd be nice, but that's not what it is. They likely will proceed with your case. Depends on the judge. So if you do get that notice, it's scary, yes, but you're not getting deported the next day. That's not how it works. Contact an attorney. The first hearing, you usually will go, you'll be there with a lot of other people, and they'll just tell you why they think you should be removed out of the United States. That's it. And then they'll ask you, what is your defense? If let's say you're still married to that US citizen spouse, that could be a defense. If you are a victim of abuse, that could be a defense. So that's usually what they ask you to tell them at that first hearing. Then they schedule a hearing for you, which may not be for another 2 years. Okay, I had a client who was supposed to have court August 12th, next week. Her case is not till now 2026. So that's what I mean by when your case falls into immigration court's jurisdiction, it doesn't mean you're being deported the next day. It usually means your case will just be longer and you'll still be here in the United States. In some cases, depending on what your defense is, you actually could file for work authorization while you're in court. But I'm not suggesting that you get in court just so you can file for work authorization. It's a weird concept, but the rationale is if you're going to be here in the United States waiting for your court date, you might as well be working and I guess paying taxes. Okay, so getting into court, no one wants to be there. But if you find yourself there, get a lawyer, show up at court, and you have a chance to fight. It doesn't end just because you got that notice. You do have another chance to fight and defend yourself. And that's all I got for you.
All right. Wow, that was a lot of information.
It was a lot.
Packed, very packed. So we have a lot of questions for you too.
Okay.
And I'm glad that, so we have about 45 minutes for questions. And guys, I'm just going to say 7:30 exactly, she has to go because she has other engagement that she has to, be at. So let's be mindful. And if your question is already asked, let me set this perimeters before we proceed. If your question is already being asked, I'm not going to repeat it again. Or if she already stated the question in her submission, there's no need for us to repeat it so that we can get to others whose question has never been asked or never been touched on. Let's get the opportunity for everyone to have a good share. So please bear with me if I read your question and I tell it to proceed. We're going to read all the questions first before we're going to open the Zoom for people to verbally ask their questions too. So let's be mindful of that as well. I see Theo, I see Vida. So Theo and Vida, you guys will be my first people that I will call. On Tap Send Ghana Facebook page, we have Bosheba Joseph says watching live and also saying, acknowledging the fact that there is a lot to talk about. Um, now we're gonna go on YouTube and ask all those questions from YouTube. Then after that, we're gonna come here on Zoom. So let's start with our questions from Zoom. Start from the top. I will try as much as possible not to miss anybody's question. There is a question from Solineb to Tatap saying, Director, please take note of that so that we can get to that when we get to the Q&A session. Davina Hall says, well, the next, okay, everyone is asking about the English. Please, if today's your first time, like we earlier explained, it starts off in Chi, then it goes in, the main presentation is in English. And that is for the purpose of our sponsors, because of those who are sponsoring us. So please take note of that. PLC 44 exclusive live band will be performing live at the GMA USA at 6. So please know that. And also, let's go ahead and take this information real quick. Write it down if you have it before you lose it. Bethel Law Group. The telephone number is 508-439-4445. And again, 508-439-4445. This is the number for you to call and schedule a consultation with Lawyer RHODA. You can also email her at info@bethellawgroup.com, or you can go to the Instagram, Bethel Law Immigration. The first question comes from Coyote. Tanuwo says, do you do NIW?
It depends. I don't always, but I do have a colleague that does. So if you have an NIW, so national interest waivers, so if you have a case, depending on the industry, if I can't handle it, she certainly can. Yeah.
Okay. And also, producer just posted a link to our chat room. Please click on the link. This is the HRT TV chat room where we discuss topics that we want to see and hear here on Time with Tatap Sen. Also, Director A-Class will post the one for the Friends with Tatap Sen, where we discuss anything that has to do with Tatap Sen. So please click on the link, join the platform, and be part of the family. And like I said, if you use my promo code PK, P-KAY on your first transaction, and you send me a message, because I'll be posted over there. If you send me a message, I will send you a bag of rice with a screenshot of you using the promo code. Solineb says, if you're a U.S. citizen and your country of birth was banned, can I still request a visa for my mom?
Your country of birth was banned. You can, well, it depends. Request a which visa? That's my first question. Because there's a non-immigrant visitor's visa. If that's what you're referring to, then if the country's banned, then no. If you're talking about filing for your mother to come to the United States on an immigrant's visa as the parent of a U.S. citizen, most of the countries, if not all of the countries that are banned, there's an exception. And it does include parents of U.S. citizens. So, but I would be curious to know what country it is, because I believe many people think that there's currently an active ban on Ghana, and that's not accurate. There's only a ban that was put in effect, I believe, in June, and most of the African nations are not on there. There was an announcement that there's a possibility of expanding that ban sometime in this month if those countries don't, follow some guidelines and tighten up on their policies and procedures. But there's no effective ban right now on Ghana. And I'm only saying that because this is TapTap. So it depends on the country you're talking about, and also depends on the visa. If you're filing for your mother and you're a U.S. citizen, then generally, no, a ban should not affect her.
Okay. I says, after I file and after I file and I-130 and I-30 approve, is there any type of visa I can use to bring my 7-year-old daughter to the U.S. before adjusting her status?
No. No, generally, if you have an I-130, so your daughter's overseas, are you a U.S. citizen? When did you become a citizen? If you became a citizen before your daughter was born, she might already be a citizen. So there's questions I have for you there, but no, generally, you just have to wait.
Okay. Phoenixia says, please, which state allow the birth citizenship? And if the mother is coming from outside the U.S., will the child be granted a U.S. citizen?
So as of right now, birthright citizenship is still the law of the land, meaning that anyone born in the United States or subject to U.S. jurisdiction, which means if you're born, let's say, in Puerto Rico or one of the U.S. territories, you still do receive citizenship at birth. So there's nothing prohibiting that at the moment. Now, if if the executive order had taken effect, then only the 20 states that were part of the lawsuits would have that benefit of still being a U.S. citizen, even if your parents are not U.S. citizens. But as of right now, every state allows that.
Okay. Fuseni Yusuf says, please, if you're a student for a 4-year program, how do you extend your visa after the 3 months?
You gotta go back. Yeah, I mean, so you only need a visa if you're entering the United States. If you're already here and you have no plans of going back until you finish school, then you really don't need a visa. Visa is just, just like a ticket. I think you're talking about a Ghana Music Awards, I think, something. Yeah, so it's like a ticket that you purchase to ask for permission to enter into the event. So a visa is just proof that it's just a ticket that I am coming as a student, allow me to enter the United States so I can, become a student, or excuse me, I can go to school. Once you enter, you don't need that visa again. What you need as a student, I-20. So if you're not planning on traveling, you really don't need it. But if you do, you have to go back and apply for it again.
Okay. George says, for green card holders at retirement age who have need to spend time with family in the U.S. and outside the U.S., are there any travel limitations on how long folks in this category can stay outside the U.S. if the individual doesn't plan to be outside the U.S. for more than 7 months? Is a re-entry application necessary for these scenarios?
So great question. Generally, no, because legally you are allowed to stay outside of the United States as a permanent resident for up to a year. Anything more than a year and you've lost your green card status. But after 6 months, officers can ask you questions in order to determine whether you should be admitted. So you can stay out. You don't need a re-entry application generally if you're going to be out for 7 months. What I recommended in this administration, if you can get the re-entry permit, get it just to be on the safe side. Because again, you're saying 7 months, that could easily become a year. You never know, something can happen. So if you know you're going to be out of the country more than 6 months, I generally recommend that you should get the re-entry document.
Okay. Akosia iPhone says, is it possible for you to obtain another H-1B sponsorship from a different company if your current H-1B visa expires and you receive an extension that is not a renewal?
So your H-1B is being extended. Are you in your 240 days? I got questions about your question, which means we need to talk offline, because it depends. Where are you? You said your visa has expired, but have you lost your job? Where are you? Because like I said before, the visa is just a ticket to enter into the United States. So it's possible for your physical visa to expire, but your H-1B status to still be valid. So I have questions there. So who's that? I would say let's talk offline. Contact my office.
Okay. And the number again is 508-439-4445. The email address is info@BETHELLawGroup.com, or you can find them on Instagram at Bethel Law Immigration. Calvin Johnson says, thanks for this valuable information. Empress Daisy says, I missed out. Is this recorded? Yes, it's recorded. It's live on HRE TV Facebook and YouTube, as well as Startups in Ghana Facebook page. So once we're done, you can always go back and play it and just hear all those questions that may be in the same alley with your questions as well, Empress. Elizabeth Iphone says, how many years does it take for your siblings to be approved? Oh, you already answered the 16 to 17 generally. All right, Sandra B says, please, I paid for my spouse and daughter's green card on April 2025 and have still not received it. Please, what do you think could be the problem?
Oh, so they're in the United States. You pay the essentially the visa fee, immigrant fee. Nothing's a problem. It's just taking a long time. It's taking closer to about 4 months. If you you paid in April, we're in August. I'd say give it 1 more month and see. Yeah. The good thing is that they're here and the visa and their passport is proof of their green card status. So you're fine.
Okay. Again, the HRE TV chat room link, WhatsApp chat room link is up. Please click on it, join, and be part of the family so that we can all discuss future topics that we want to see on this honorable platform. This is from Paul. Hello, Esquire. I got into the US on an H-1B visa in 2023, but after 6 months, I had a fallout with my employer. I mean the one that filed for the H-1B one for me. I left Texas where the company was situated and relocated to New Jersey. I stayed home for about 6 months before I got a new job. I used the same work permits of the previous company without filing. Should I proceed with this question?
Yeah, no, just call my office, okay?
Yeah, because it's getting very sensitive and personal.
Yeah. But I think you missed a question by someone, I think Sam Dewey, something
Yeah.
about, I just lost it.
Yeah, so Paul, please call the office and talk to the lawyer, okay? Nathaniel's iPhone says, I have a J1 visa and I really want to file for a green card. Is only by marriage that I can get a green card?
No, there are people that get green cards. I think someone asked a question about a national interest waiver. That's one way to get a green card. If you are extraordinary in your field, EB1, that's a employment based. That's one way to get a green card. If you have, depending on the skill that you're doing, if you have an employer that wants to file for you, right now we have an individual who has an agency filing for her as a nurse. So that's another way to get a green card. So marriage is not the only way. Yeah, you have other options. It just depends on your relationships and your job and your credentials.
Okay. I did miss some Dewey and producer just prompted me on that, which is good. He said, I lost my job while on H-1B and I applied for a B1, B2 visa on May 27. I am considering going to school. Can I apply for F1 visa while I have the pending B1, B2 application? I live in the United States.
Hold on, I applied for something. Okay, I'm going to school. Oh, I see. So you did a change of status from H-1B to visitor's visa, and now you want to go to school. I mean, you can. You apply to school and get in school, you can. So you would essentially have two applications pending. So call my office because there's more there.
Okay. Daniel Deck says, would you advise those who got their student visa before the new changes to travel this December back home, or they should relax for now?
Universities are telling their students not to go anywhere. So I'll leave it there.
Okay. Asem Sebe. Sandra B says, I am a U.S. citizen. Does my 10-year-old daughter become a citizen since she entered the U.S. in April 2025?
As a permanent resident, then yes. That's the shortest answer I can give. If you're a U.S. citizen and your 10-year-old daughter entered the United States and is currently a permanent resident, then yeah.
Okay. Frederick Aqua says, can a family sponsor a caregiver with the B1 visa who has overstayed for less than a year?
A family sponsor, a caregiver? If you're saying sponsor in the context of employing the person and filing for them through an employment-based green card, you can, but I need clarity as to what you mean by sponsor.
Okay.
But if they're your family and, if it's your mother, then and you're a U.S. citizen, you can file for her. You have to get a green card. But if she's not related to you biologically, or even through her step parents, then you'd have to either do it through the work, employment-based.
Okay. iPhone says, if someone leaves the country due to death in the family and sickness and stay for over 3 years, yet the person has a green card, can they re-enter?
Oh, 3 years. I doubt they're still a green card holder. Yeah. And that you traveled for because of a death in the family and it kept you off for 3 years.
And there was sickness too.
That's 3 years is a bit much. It's a bit much. I can say, I mean, legally, after a year, if you're out, you've abandoned your permanent resident status. I don't see that 3 years happening. I mean, and also you'd have to explain, was a sickness for a year and a half? There's a lot more there. But generally, based on the law, if you stay out of the United States for more than a year, you've abandoned the status.
Okay. Davina Hall says, what should you bring for a visa hearing?
What visa? Where are you going? What are you coming to do? All those questions determine what you should bring, right? If it's a visitor's visa, that's the answer for that. If it's a student visa, if it's an immigrant visa, fiance visa, there's a lot of visas. So I need more questions, more details for that one.
Beth says, 10 years after deportation, I was granted a visa to return. I am now a naturalized citizen. Can I safely travel?
Wow, good for you, first of all. That's pretty impressive. Can you travel? You're a citizen, yeah? Yeah, you can travel.
And says,
just have your documents with you, though.
And says, is the 3-month visa limit only applicable to B1, B2 visitors or all other visas?
Visas, all non-immigrant visas.
Okay. Max says, if you hold a valid 4-year student visa before the change to 3 months, can you travel in and out of the U.S. with it?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
it's not retroactive.
Aziz Bukhari says, I brought my mom to the US since February. She has gotten her green card. Can she file for my brother, who's 39 years old, unmarried with 5 kids?
Unmarried? Yes. The minute he gets married, no. Until she becomes a citizen.
Okay. Solineb says Congo. I think you asked the question. She asked the
Oh, the
question earlier.
ban. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't believe Congo is, I'd have to check. But if she's filing for her mother again as a US citizen filing for her parents, there's an exception to the ban. I'd have to double check if Congo is on that list that I remember.
Okay. Ransolina Odonko says, my fiance lives in the UK on a student visa. We plan to have our silver wedding this year. Do we have to go to Ghana to get married, or we can do it in the UK and still file a K3 spousal visa for him?
K3. I haven't heard that in a long time. So K3 basically allows you to come to the United States while you have an approved a petition pending. It's right now it's taking about the same amount of time as it takes for a regular spousal petition. I don't know if K3 is what you mean or if you mean K1, which is fiance. Run the question back because there's so many details there. Read the question one more time.
My fiance lives in the UK on a student visa. We
Okay.
plan to have our civil wedding this year. Do we have to go to Ghana to get married, or we can do it in the UK and still file a K3 spousal visa for him?
That's what it was. That's what I was looking for, spousal. Okay. Yeah, you can get married in the UK if you want to, and then you can come back and file for him as a spouse. Yeah.
All right. Solineb
Her
says,
face, I thought she meant fiance.
Solineb says, thank you so much. iPhone says, my nephew is being deported because he had a problem with the wife. He's a green card holder.
Okay. I'm sorry to hear that. He's committed a crime. If you're a green card holder, you commit certain crimes, that is grounds for removal. Has he been deported or is he in immigration court? If he's in immigration court, there's still an opportunity for a defense. If his court has already ran its course and they've ordered him removed out of the United States, then unfortunately he would have to leave.
Mansa Charles says, my law. Oh, I think just my lawyer. I don't know. I'm going to read it as it states. My law. I filed my asylum last year, 2024. And up to date, my work permit has not come. How can I do? I think you'll figure it out.
So if you filed it yourself, I'd say contact immigration to follow up, because if you filed it 2024 and you still haven't you haven't received your work authorization, there's something there. If you use an attorney, contact your attorney, have them follow up, because usually with asylum, over a year is a little bit too long.
Okay. I says, what's your advice on traveling with travel permit? I-485 still pending.
Yeah, you can. I don't recommend it, but you can. Reason being is that if the 485 gets denied for any reason, that travel permit is just for decoration purposes. It carries no weight. So I usually would say just wait, let the green card process run its course, get your green card, and then you can travel.
iPhone 30 Pro Max says, I attended my marriage-based interview. It's been 2 months, no response. What should I do?
Sadly, keep waiting. It's not uncommon for it to take a while. I was at an interview 2 weeks ago, and the officer was new. There's a lot of new hires going on at USCIS right now. A lot of new hires going on in the Department of Homeland Security in general. And when it's a new hire, they're not allowed, this is the officer telling me this, they're not allowed to make decisions independently. They have to review the case with their supervisor. And so you can imagine that person, the trainee has 6 or 7 cases in that one day. That's 6 or 7 cases they now have to sit down with the supervisor to review to get a decision. So I would say give him another maybe 30 days. After 90 days, then you can follow up and see what's going on there. But it's not uncommon, sadly.
Concierge iPhone says yes. Mark says, can a conditional green card holder file for kids under 18 years? How long does it take?
Conditional green card holder file for kids under 18? Yes. The children outside of the United States. So conditional green card, you have the same rights and privileges as a regular permanent resident. You can. How long it takes depends on the country, but roughly about 7, 8 years just for the first part. And I'm assuming the child is out of the United States. But yeah, so roughly about 7, 8 years for the first part for a visa to be available.
All right. So this question is from YouTube, and it's from Professor Felix Quason. He says, I am curious to know how a letter of character can play a role in immigration court proceedings for someone facing deportation? Does it even help to write a character letter when requested?
Great question. It depends, right, on the substance of the letter and also the person writing the letter, right? If you have, the CEO of some Johnson and Johnson writing a character letter for you and that, they need you for some department, that carries weight. So I would say it depends. It doesn't hurt, unless the character letter is very minimal, doesn't have any context or anything like that, but it doesn't hurt. Once you get to immigration court, honestly, you want to try anything that will stick. So if you've been asked to do it, do the person a favor and try to write a good one.
Solomon's iPhone says, please, I'm a citizen and I have applied U.S. passport for my daughter while she was 10 years. It still has to go through naturalization process? Question mark.
I'm sorry, what's the question?
He's trying to find out, does he has to go through naturalization process?
For his daughter?
Yeah, passport. He applied for a passport for the daughter.
Oh, okay. If you apply for the passport for your daughter, presumably she's already a U.S. citizen. She can't go through naturalization because she likely received citizenship through you. So she has to apply for a certificate of citizenship, not a naturalization certificate.
Okay. Aziz Bukhari says, how long does the re-entry permit takes to be approved, and how long does it valid? How long does it valid for? Is it valid for?
How long it takes to get approved? Honestly, I don't believe I've received one in a while. We filed some, but we haven't received it in a bit. So I would say it's taken longer than green cards. That's what I would say. And how long is it valid for? I believe it's 2 years. It might have changed to 5, but I believe it's at least 2 years.
All right. Max says, if you apply for NIW EB2 and get approved, but your adjustment of status date is not current, can you or your spouse travel out of the U.S.?
Your visa likely has expired. Whatever visa you came on has expired. So unless you have, valid visa that you can use to re-enter the United States, I wouldn't suggest, because you haven't filed the adjustment of status yet. So you need to file the adjustment of status in order to file the travel documents. And if that hasn't happened, you have no basis of returning to the United States. That approved I-140 is not a basis to return to the United States. So unless the visa you entered with or your base visa is still valid, I would say just wait.
Okay. Empress, I would definitely post the information in the WhatsApp chat. So once we're done with the show, I'll put the information over there too. Samuel SFL Income says, do you need visa to travel to Ghana if you have dual citizenship?
This question again.
I know.
Generally, you don't need a visa if you have dual citizenship because you don't need a visa to enter your home country. But if you want to be safe, I know there's a lot of stories going on right now. I've done, I think, 2 sessions on Tap about this. If you have a U.S. passport, leave the United States with your U.S. passport. If you want to only travel with your U.S. passport, you can get a Ghana visa, put in that U.S. passport, and use that to travel.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Mabel Emisa Kwaku says, my husband's green card application got approved by NVC, and it's been a year now, even though they said I'm documentarily satisfactory. Ideally, how long does it take?
What country? So documentarily qualified is what it is, meaning that you have all the documents and NVC is all set. You're waiting for an interview date in, I'm assuming, Ghana. And right now it's taken about 2.5 years for an interview. So you just have to keep waiting.
Please, my name is Isaku Tanimu. I'm an Ashali, and I've applied for my green card and did my fingerprint. What next for me?
Wait. You applied for your green card. So you did 485. Congratulations on getting the asylum application approved. You just wait until either if you're called in for an interview. If not, then you should get your green card.
Aziz Bukhari says, as LLC employer, can I sponsor someone for work employment overseas?
You can. Yeah, you just would have to depend on the person's qualifications because there's different tiers of employment-based green cards. But yeah, you can.
iPhone says, is someone who already has 10 years visa going to have problems with multiple entries?
Someone who has a 10-year visa coming to the United States.
Yeah.
It's still valid, so you're fine. But once it expires, you won't be getting another one unless this new rule changes again by that time.
Okay. Kwame Ampadu says, hi, RHODA. How are you doing? Hope all is well. Oh, just greetings. Samuel SFO Income says, I filed for my brother since 2010 and it's approved. Do you know how long it will take for a visa availability?
You filed for him 2010, and what is approved? The petition is approved?
Yes.
2010. Let's see where we are. Give me 1 second. Let me
15
see.
years. Probably like
It's about 16 years, but if you filed in 2010 and it's been approved, he should be just about ready
2
to
years.
get to a visa. Should be about a year or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, about a year or two.
Lacazette says, I'm a U.S. citizen. Can I sponsor for my twin brother?
Yes, you can. You can file for him. So the reason why some of the questions are throwing me off is because sponsorship means a little bit different in immigration.
It can be employer. It can be you just file for him.
Yeah, or it could be an affidavit of support. It's completely different. You can file for your brother, yes, but it'll take roughly, depending on the country, but generally about 16 to 17 years.
Manche L says, can someone who has granted CAT relief later get a green card?
So that's Convention Against Torture. So it's like the younger brother of asylum. You can if you're eligible, but it's not as easy as doing it through asylum.
Okay. iPhone says, so if you have a tourist visa prior to the new changes, does it affect the years left on the visa?
Nope. It's not retroactive going forward.
All right. iPhone says, I'm a U.S. citizen. If I go home on Ghana passport because I don't want to pay for visa fees, you already answered that question.
Oh, don't do that. That's illegal. You don't leave the United States if you're a U.S. citizen on any other passport other than your U.S. passport. That's illegal. Don't do that. Don't do that.
No, but I think his question is based on what we're talking about, people with dual citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, going home.
He said he wants to leave the United States with his Ghana passport, right?
Yes.
No. Legally, as a U.S. citizen, you must leave the United States with your U.S. passport and enter the United States with your U.S. passport. How you enter that other country, that's up to you. You can use a Ghana passport there, but leaving the U.S. and entering the U.S. as a U.S. citizen, you're required to use your U.S. passport.
So, okay, then you're going to need a visa.
Yeah.
Bright Kuma says, I'm a U.S. citizen and my fiancée is in Canada and on asylum status waiting for her case to be called for hearing, but in the meantime has work permit. Is it advisable for me to go and marry her and file for her to join me in the U.S. since we don't know when the case will be settled?
So her Canadian law, immigration process, that I can't speak to, but if you are a U.S. citizen asking to file for your soon-to-be wife, you can do that. Yeah.
Josiah says, I'm a U.S. citizen and my mother came on a 5-year visa. Can I still file for the adjustment of status?
She's here in the United States? You absolutely can. Yep.
Rufus Aweki says, if I have a green card, can I file for my children if they are out of status or they have to go back to their country?
Depends on the age of the kids, but generally you can. I guess my question would be, why were they not included in your green card application? So
that's something you can talk to her about.
Yeah.
All right. Again, the HRE TV chat room link is already posted. Please join and be part of the family. A-Class Danny, can you guys please post the one for the Top Sen, friends with Top Sen? Somadadzi says, is there any way J1 can adjust status?
Yes, I think I answered that question earlier. You can. It all depends on your family relationships. It depends on your employment options, but you can.
Well,
but
if you did, I would say let's proceed.
I would add this thing to J1 though, because check to make sure that you're not subjected to the 2-year residency requirement. So for some people who come to the United States on some J1 programs, if it's funded by either the U.S. government or the government of your country, you may be required to return to your country of origin for at least 2 years before you can adjust your status. And if that's the case, you have to file for a waiver and all of that. So just look at your visa. It should say it on there if you're required to return home first.
Akosiaka says, friends, I-4085 interview done August 2024. No correspondence since. Any advice?
Green card interview done since last year. Oh, follow up. That's long. Yeah, follow up.
Alicia Ohineba's iPhone. Is it safe to travel with a work authorization and travel parole under this environment?
I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay. Ben Pons, my mother with a 10-year green card has gone to stay in Ghana for years now. What are her chances of coming back to the USA? What do we need to do? Thanks for your help.
You might need to file for mom again. I'm sorry. If she's been gone as a permanent resident for almost 10 years, she's almost most certainly not a green card holder anymore.
Yeah. Elizabeth's iPhone says, I have filed for my siblings for almost 15 years and I have not heard anything. I'm a citizen.
That's normal.
It's the same thing. Yeah. Mr. J says, I had a pending vow and has remarried and filed for another I-130, I-485, and I-765. The case have been received for 4 months, but no biometric appointment has been scheduled. Did I make a mistake, remarry, and file again whilst I had a pending vow?
Well, I can't say you made a mistake. I hope you married for love. But that vow application is definitely done because once you remarry, you've canceled that one. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Someone for income says if someone has 10-year green card, can the person travel back home? We already answered that. Aziza Bukhari says, how long will it take for my green card mom to file for my unmarried 39-year-old brother with we already answered that. iPhone says, I filed for my daughter who is 30 years old. Please do have an idea when she will be called.
File for your daughter who's 30 years old. Has the petition been approved yet? Where are we in the process? That's the question that I have.
I think she'll come back. Hakima Walid says, I'm a resident in the US. Can I apply for a study abroad in the UK?
You're a resident, like a permanent residence? Sure. You have lawful status here. You should be able to do that.
All right. A-Class just posted the link to the TATUPSEN, friends of TATUPSEN. Please click on that, and that is where you can ask all those questions that you have concerning TATUPSEN, the app itself, how to send money back home, and any great questions that you have. And again, the HRTV link is the one that we use to actually discuss all the topics that we want to see on the show. At this point, I'm going to ask, Theo just unmuted herself. I mean, just took a reaction about it because, again, I think we have Theo invited, so we're going to call provider. Ziz Bukhari had one more question before. What happened if a petitioner died in the middle of the I-130 process? Very good question.
So by the law, the petition dies with the petitioner. So, yeah.
Okay. Vida, please unmute yourself and ask your question. We have 15 minutes before we wrap up the show.
I'm not really wearing I'm you.
Vida.
Hi.
Yes.
Yes.
Where you
Good
calling
evening.
from? Good evening.
I'm
Where you
calling
calling
from North Carolina.
North Carolina. Vida, what's your question?
Okay, so my question is about B1, B2 visas to come in here. I learned recently the interviews have been tough. And so my mom is 63 now, and I filed for non-immigrant visa for her to come in to help me with my kid. And so I wanted to ask, like, what kind of how would she be able to defend herself when they ask for the ties? I recently have a relative who went there. He had been a director with the family back home, but still they denied him. So I'm kind of like scared, and I don't know what exactly she would be able to use to defend herself. At this point, I'm a citizen. My spouse is with the DOD, and so I really do want her to be here to help me out. Do you have any ideas?
Yeah, so your first thing I think you said is that they paused visitors' visas. They didn't. So they're still doing the interviews for that. Second thing, I was going to ask you if you're a US citizen, and you said you are. So there's a chance, I can't say for sure, but it's a chance that she may be denied. And the reason is that you can potentially file for her to get a green card to stay in the United States permanently. Now, if you were to start the application process for your mother today, it would take about 3 years for her to get a green card. If she entered the United States on a visitor's visa and you filed for her, it would take about 8 months. And so because they know that you literally can circumvent the entire process and cut it from 3 years to 8 months, there's a chance that when a person is coming to the United States and there's someone in the US who could potentially file for them, and that person also doesn't have strong ties to their country of origin, they could be denied. Because the purpose of the visitor visa is to come and visit temporarily. Now, what did she say? I obviously can't answer that question. It all depends on what her purpose for coming is. Now, if she's coming to visit you and her grandkids, she can obviously provide evidence of that, and provide evidence that she'll come back home to Ghana when I'm assuming it's Ghana, when she's done with her trip. But beyond that, that's the most I can say. But being that you're a U.S. citizen, I would suggest it's probably just easier just to file for your mother to get a green card.
All right.
Okay.
So thank you very much, Vida.
Can I ask one more question, please?
Because of time factor, we have to get other people. We have 12 minutes and we have 3 people that have their hands up.
Sure. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much, Vida. Solomon, can you please unmute yourself and tell us where you're calling from and make your question quick, please?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from Worcester in Massachusetts.
Worcester. Solomon, what's your question?
Next door neighbor.
Yeah. Just want to find out which part in Massachusetts do you have your law firm? That's my first question.
So I'm right off the 290. If you know where Solomon Pond Mall is, about 15 minutes from Worcester. I'm in Northborough.
Oh, so are you in Auburn? Oh no, sorry.
Solomon.
I'm the director.
I would love for us to cut the conversation, just go straight to the question so that we can have other people in, because she has to go exactly 7:30, please.
Okay, so 290, 1 minute. I just want to write the address now. And then my question is, I think I posted a question about my daughter, who is now 23 years old and has married in Ghana. I wanted to bring the husband over there. But when she was 10, I applied for the U.S. passport for her, indicating that she's a citizen. But now we've learned that she has to apply for, I think, a DS 600 or N600. And that one costs a lot. Is it to be 1,500 for 1,300 or 1,400? That's the fee for the certificate, which is way higher than even somebody going through naturalization process. The fees are 600 and something. So is it advisable for her to do the naturalization or paying for the fee for the certificate?
Okay. I have questions about your question because I don't know where your daughter is, if she's in the United States or she's outside of the United States. If she's outside of the United States, there's no point in filing for an N600 because she has to it's just multi-level.
She is in the United States now, and she has a husband in Ghana that she want to bring.
So your daughter's a citizen?
She's a citizen that through me, when I applied for the U.S. passport or for her when she was at 10 years. And now we find out that she need to get the U.S. citizen certificate, of which doesn't have that one. It doesn't have that one. So my question is it advisable for her to go through the naturalization process where the fees is lesser than the
naturalization? She can't naturalize. That's the thing. She's not permitted to naturalize because she's already a citizen. Naturalization is for individuals who are not U.S. citizens, who are over the age of 18. Okay. So she's already a citizen. So she either sticks with her passport or U.S. passport as proof of her status, or she has to apply for the certificate of citizenship.
All right.
Thank you. Then just 1 minute.
Solomon, I would like to take Mr. Charles because we have 9 minutes and we still got 13 questions. Please.
Give my office a call before you. Please don't just show up. Give us a call, schedule a time, and then
Solomon, just call her and just get that in. Thank you.
No problem.
Mr. Charles, please tell us where you're calling from and make your question quick for us, please. Mr. Charles, unmute yourself and tell us where you're calling from.
Hello.
Yes, sir. We can hear you. Where you calling from and your question?
Yeah, please? I'm calling from New York.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but please, my question is, I came here 2024, 9th January. To now, I filed my asylum case on 3rd March 2022. Up to date, I've not heard any court hearing. They cancelled my court hearing was 29th April. Up to date, I've not got any working permit and my social and everything. That's also what can I do? I file lawyer, you call the lawyer is saying he called the immigration. They say that the asylum we file is not then there. So but it's too much. So that's why I was always joining your group then asking what should I do?
I would say give my office a call so I can get more details about your case. Because you said you came last year, but then you filed you filed in 2022, which
I came 2024.
So
9th January. Then I start my asylum case 3rd March 2024.
Oh, okay.
Then up to date, my clock has ended now is 262.
Yeah.
But up to now, anything has come. If you call the lawyer, I don't know why she's doing.
Oh, so you have a lawyer. Okay, then.
I,
Well,
I
I'm
have a
really-
lawyer, but if I can do anything, it can help. I mean, I will change my destiny. Because now I came here, it got into 2 years. I'm not getting anything because I don't have any. If you go work, sometimes you don't go again because of you don't have documents in a year.
Right. So just give my office a call. Let me see. Let's talk and see what options you do have. If you have an attorney, I presume you paid the lawyer, so they should be working for you. So maybe follow up with them. But you can give my office a call. We can schedule a time, and then we can talk and see, what we can do.
Okay, please. What time? What time can I call you?
Mr. Charles, just call the office from 9 to 5.
Okay. All
then
right. I have the number. I'm in a group chat too.
Okay, thank you very
Okay,
much,
I'm a
Mr.
member
Charles.
of the group chat. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
So my Mr. Questions to the crowd. Okay.
Come on,
iPhone says Mr. Charles, please mute yourself. iPhone says I'm a US citizen. I filed for my daughter in 2022 and she's 30. No, I think we already asked that question. User says after grant PR in Canada as asylum, how many years I can spend out of Canada before I come back to? That will be for a Canadian lawyer.
Yes.
And we are still working to get a Canadian lawyer, so please bear with us. John says, I filed for my mom. I have been waiting for an interview date since 2023. Is it normal? The priority date is 9/2022. I'm not sure what that means.
I know what it means.
September 20th, 2022.
You filed, when was the case documents really qualified? If you filed it September 2022, that maybe about ending of this year, top of next year for an interview.
Okay. iPhone says, oh no, Empress Daisy says, our lawyer, please, how much does it cost to book an appointment with your office? And I think you answered down there. Please, what happens when there is a divorce after 2 years green card? Guys, please pardon me. I'm just going fast because of our time remaining. That's why I'm reading the question so fast.
I have a little bit of time if you need it. You can take it.
Oh yes, if we could, if you could get a time, please.
I have a little bit of time for you today, so yes.
Okay, so we can extend.
Yeah.
I want to make sure. Okay, then we will go back to our lady that asked the question. You can put your hands back up again, and you can ask your second question. I think she had a second question, and I think Mr. the person after the lady also had a second question, so we can ask them too. So can you answer the one with the divorce after 2-year green card, please?
Got your 2-year green card, got a divorce. So you will need a lawyer filing for that 10-year green card, because the 2-year green card was a trial period by immigration to see if you would still be married after the 2 years. So if you're divorced, you can still file by yourself. You can still file the removal of conditions by yourself, but you're going to need more evidence to show that the marriage was indeed genuine. But you still can go ahead and file. Just use a lawyer, I would suggest.
Okay. Somadar comments says, are you allowed to use your Ghana card to travel to Ghana with your US passport without applying for a Ghana visa?
Yes, you are.
Ghana card?
So you show your US passport here in the United States to the flight agent or the airline agent. They'll ask you, where's your visa? You can show your Ghana card to show them this is how I plan on entering the United States, and then you go on your way. When you get to Ghana, they're probably going to ask you proof of how you can enter. You show them your Ghana card.
Okay. iPhone says 30 minutes phone consultation is $150. 45 minutes Zoom video is $200, and that is the cost when someone asks. Hakimi,
iPhone is my husband. I think that's my husband, because no one here knows that answer.
So that's your husband?
I think so, because I think he also typed the address of the office as well.
Okay, well, that's good then. Hakimi Wali says, I won my custody last month. Do you know when I will get my green card? And can I go to Puerto Rico with my ID and come back to the US?
He won his what last month?
Custody.
Custody of what?
I'm not sure. Hakimi, can you come back and tell us what custody of what?
Yeah.
So that she can better answer your question. Samadako Mensa says, I understand Ghanaians living in UK can travel to Ghana with their Ghana card without a visa, but UK in US. But again, you said they can use that with a US passport.
Yeah,
so that's
the main thing is you
words.
have to leave with your US passport. That's the main thing. You have to, and if they ask you at the airport, how are you going to enter Ghana? You show them your Ghana card. You're not leaving on the Ghana card. You're leaving on the US passport. The Ghana card is the equivalent of the visa in the passport.
Got you. And husband responded with the address is 44 Barefoot Road, Northborough, Massachusetts. Thanks, husband. Um, Victor says, "Hi, I am transcribing this call with my Tactic AI extension." Huh? What does that mean?
Okay.
Uh, RHODA said, the address again, the telephone number is 508-439-4445. And please make sure you call the office and click on the link, the chat room link, so that you can be part of the family as well. iPhone says, if a green card holder travels and dies outside the country, what should be done, please?
Oh.
That's unfortunate.
I'm so sorry. As it relates to immigration, not much. I mean, unless they have something pending for a family member or something like that. If they passed, that's unfortunately that's it. I'm sorry. Wow. My condolences.
Esther says, can the A1 visa apply for green card after 5 years?
Can a
A1 visa apply for green card after 5 years?
So you would need a basis for the green card. You don't just jump to the green card from the A visa. So it's either family or employment, but you can, depending on your, family relationship or employment relationship.
Okay. George iPhone says, I was given only 3 months visa to the States from Canada. If I don't travel to the States and it expires, will it affect me when I reapply again?
If you don't use the visa at all, that depends on the embassy in Canada. I mean, the question becomes, why did you apply for the visa if you weren't going to use it? I mean, unless something came up, that's why you didn't use it. But once it expires, you have to apply for a new one.
Okay. Happy Priscilla says, I'm a student and I came in with a J1 visa, Fulbright scholarship. That's nice. I filed for a hardship waiver but have not gotten any updates. Can I apply for another visa?
For J1, you can change to another. Well, I have a question about your J1. Is it subjected to the residency requirement? But generally, if you're changing to another non-immigrant's visa, you should be fine to do that.
Okay. Summer Esther for Income says, can 10-year green card holder file for her children, 2 minors and 2 adults? And yes, how long can it take for them to come?
Can a green card holder file for unmarried children? Yes, you can.
2 minor, 2 adults. He didn't specify if the adults were married on that.
So if they're over 21, their process would be a little different than the under 21. Under 21 might take about 4 years. Over 21 will take a little bit longer, closer to 7 or 8.
Elizabeth's iPhone says, I'm going through adjustment of status and my kids have a visit visa. I listed their name but didn't file together with my application. Can they come and visit?
Sure, if they get approved for the visa, they can visit.
Okay. Empress Daisy says, can my brother, who is a citizen, file for my children who are in Ghana and at the ages of 20, 24? I think it still applies to...
No, your brother can't file for your children.
Okay. I was trying to help you, Empress.
Yeah, sorry. Your brother can
iPhone says, I'm confused. Did you say you can go with your US passport and the Ghana card and come back with your American passport?
So I reached out to CBP myself a few months ago and asked a question, and I some way, somehow, I'll pull this up so I can share my screen. You're supposed to leave the United States as a US citizen with your US passport, okay? When you get to, because you don't encounter immigration when you're leaving the United States. All you're dealing with is the flight agent. So you get there, you're checking your bag in. The first thing they ask you, I just got off a flight today. So the first thing they ask you is for your passports or a proof of identification, and then for your bags, right? That's it. So you show your US passports. If you're traveling, they may ask you where you're traveling to because they'll see your boarding pass and you'll say Ghana. They may then at that point ask you how you're going to get to Ghana. Do you have a visa? So then you would show your Ghana card because as a Ghanaian national, you are allowed to return to your country without a visa. But you're leaving the US on that passport. You must hand that passport to the agent and they're supposed to scan that. That shows that you exited the United States on your US passport. Once you leave the shores of the United States, how you enter the other country, whether Ghana, Mexico, Nigeria, what have you, is dependent on that country and their policies and their immigration officers. So once you get to Ghana, they're going to ask you for your passports. You'll have your US passport, which will have a visa in it. So you'll show them your Ghana card because you're Ghanaian coming back home. When you're leaving and coming back, the same thing. You show your US passport because that's how you enter the United States. So you exit and enter with U.S. passport. However, you enter the other country, completely up to that country's requirements.
Okay. And it says, hi, if you have a fiancé who is a citizen and on the edge of getting married, is it possible for them to file for a green card before the marriage? No.
You're on the verge of getting married. So
Yeah.
is a person in the United States. What's going on? But no, there's no green card for fiancés. Either once you get married, then your spouse can file for you to get a green card. But there's no green card for fiancés.
George Eiffel says, follow up to my question. Can I talk, please? George, just put a hand emoji up and we will call you when we get to that part. We're almost done with the questions over here. iPhone 12 Pro Max says, please, I just joined, but I had a question. My question is, how long does it take for a mother to file for her adult children? I mean, 22 and above, please.
1 second. Let's see. Visa bulletin. Unmarried children, right?
It didn't specify.
So if it's unmarried children of a permanent residence, you're looking at about 9 years. If it's unmarried adult children of a U.S. citizen, you're looking at about 13 years, give or take. 12, 13.
Okay. Hakim Waleed says, I went to my final court last month and I won. Do you know when I will get my green card? And can I go to Puerto Rico with my ID and come back to the U.S.? I think we already answered this question.
I think that was a question about custody, and I didn't know what he meant.
Yes.
Well, congratulations on winning your court case. I wouldn't go anywhere until I have my green card in my hand. But yeah.
Okay. Victor says, my family and I are on a G4 visa, diplomat visa tied to my UN employment. Can I switch to another visa if I decide to leave the UN?
You can change status, yeah.
Okay. Then is Beacon says, do I need an arrival stamp in my Ghana arrival stamp in Ghana on my US passport while I have my Ghana card?
That's up to Ghana's policies as to how they would process you, but you're Ghanaian coming home. So I would imagine your Ghana card is all you need. I get your question because you want to make sure that you have proof that you went to Ghana when you're coming back into the country, because you probably heard that they're going to ask you when you come back, okay, how did you enter Ghana? So, which is why most people are saying if it's easier for you, just get the Ghana visa in your US passport and travel with that and not use your Ghana card. But personally, I think it defeats the purpose of having a Ghana card then.
Okay. Yeah, Asafo just confirmed what you said. He said he went to Ghana with the Ghana card and his US passport and didn't have any problem. Feel Good also says, well, the lawyer is saying is true. I always go to Ghana without a visa. I use my US passport and my Ghana card at all times. Ernest Nibine says, can I use my Ghanaian passport as an identification to enter in Ghana? And the answer was yes. iPhone 12 Pro Max says yes, but they have kids. I think back to the question about mom filing for children.
So unmarried, but they have children. Yes, you can file for them and the children.
And the last question is Michael's iPhone. When you have extension green card for 4 years, how long it takes to receive the 10 years green card?
Usually the full 4 years. That's why they extend it for the 4 years. But if you are still married to the U.S. citizen and still living with that U.S. citizen, you can technically file for citizenship after 3 years. So you may not even get that 10-year green card. You can just do the combo. But how long it takes to get the removal of conditions process is taking about 4 years.
Okay. Bosheba Joseph has a lot of questions on Facebook. He says, is there any updates on F1 visa?
Interviews overseas are happening. I know they put a pause on it for about 3 weeks in June. It's reopened. So, but you do have to have your social media account open. They have to see everything, right? From MySpace to TikTok, everything. But other than that,
really?
Yeah.
Did you just say MySpace? MySpace is dead.
I sure did.
Now you might want to need Hi-Fi too.
Hey, Hi-Fi, I remember that one.
He says, how long does it take for a fiancé visa to be approved after filing for your fiancé?
Right now I'm seeing about 16, 17 months for the petition to be approved before it moves on to the next step.
Okay. At this point, we're going to call upon Vida. Please unmute yourself. We already know what you called for, so just give us your second question so that we can call the next person.
Okay. Hi again. Thank you so much.
No, thank
So
you.
my next question was about I did file the application for my mom. It's still on the same issue. And
Okay.
so we were in Virginia. We recently just moved to North Carolina. And then I reached out to the visa department, whatever the name is, it's not in my head right now.
National Visa.
That is the case, and so they asked me to fill in another application so that the number on the no, so we changed the address from where we were to here, and so I asked them, so what happens now? Because if you go to the interview and they're like, oh, where are you going? And it does says that she was going to our previous address, meanwhile we are not there. I'm scared that would be a case for a denial. So I reached out to them and they told me that I have to fill in a new application, visa application for her. And so I did fill the application. And what they said was that they are going to merge the number. I don't know what the name of that number is, the ID number or something, to the interview number, the interview letter number. And so till now, I still put that up, and the number is still not showing for the new number that I do have, the new ID number. I don't know if you're familiar with what I'm talking about.
Okay, so number one, I'm trying to figure out where in the process you are, because you said that you filed another application for her. So I have several questions, because generally the process works as you file a petition here, U.S. Immigration. It takes about 15 months. They give you a response saying, we believe this is your mother. Then they send you a case ID and an invoice number. I think that's what you're referring to. And then
No. Okay. So because of time, this is the non-immigrant visa I'm still talking about. And so
okay.
when you fill it, there is a confirmation page, and there is this ID number on the confirmation page that it says for it to match with your interview letter, ID. And so that is where the problem was, that now we have changed our address, and I wanted to update that address so that it wouldn't bring any confusion. And so they asked me to update my address on this new application form on the non-immigrant visa application site. And so I did that, and they said they were going to link that number to my interview page, the confirmation page number. And so till now, I still don't have it being merged together. I still have the old application confirmation page number on the interview letter.
I
So,
would say contact them, whoever you spoke with, to get this information you're talking about. Contact them to see if they can give you some more clarity, because I'm a little bit unclear as to what you're describing.
Okay.
okay. All right.
All
Thank
right.
you.
So we're gonna call upon Kwame and Pedu. Kwame and Pedu, please unmute yourself. Tell us where you're calling from and your question, please. We have quite a few people on the line to talk, so please let's make our question brief so that other people can get a chance in. Kwame and Pedu, please unmute yourself. If Kwame and Pedu is not ready, we're gonna call upon Michael. Michael, please.
Hello?
Okay, Kwame and Pedu, go ahead. Tell us where you're calling from.
Yeah, I'm calling from Williston, North Dakota.
Yes, sir. What's your question?
Yes, my question is I became a U.S. citizen this year.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I filed for my children. That was last year. And it's been 432 days now. My question is what is the criteria that they use to approve the I-130? And then how long does it take for them to be approved? Yeah.
So, how old are your children?
The first one is 20, and then the second one is 17, and then the third one is 13, and then the last one is 12.
So they're all under 21.
Yes.
So then, give or take, it's rough estimates, about 16 months from the time that you filed it. That's when you'll get a decision from the I-130. So if you look online, there's various estimations. I'm going based off what I see in my office. And the I-130s that we filed about a year and a half ago are the ones that we're seeing get approved now. So that's what I'm saying, about 16 months. It could be 18 months, but that's how long it's going to take for that I-130 to be approved before you move on to the next steps.
Yeah, but my question is, when I filed for my case, I was not a U.S. citizen.
Oh, so you file as a permanent resident. Okay, so you have to update. You have to let them know that you're a U.S. citizen because they're processing your case as a permanent resident petition for minor children. But now that which takes a lot longer than the 15, 16 months. So now that you're a U.S. citizen, you have to inform them because they're the ones that gave you your citizenship, but they don't update it in the system. So you have to inform them and let them know so they can update it and change the category.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Michael, please tell us where you're calling from and your
I'm
question.
calling from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Okay.
I went for an interview on September 17, 2024. Somewhere in November, I received an RFP, which I submitted in January. Then my case, when I go online, they say they are still reviewing it. I want to ask Madam Lawyer whether my case is out of the normal process time, because I've not heard from them since the whole of this year.
Yeah, you can follow up. It's been over 6 months. You said you responded in January of this year.
Yes.
Yeah, you can follow up just to see. But it's a pending green card application.
Yes, a family based.
Okay.
And the reason too is that I had an attorney who did it for me. When I called her, she's not giving me any positive. I thought he would follow up for me, but I don't hear anything from her positively.
Yeah. So once the case is, once you get an RFE, it pauses the processing of your case because the officer literally stops reviewing it, puts it to the side, and sends you a request for evidence. Once you respond, the officer is supposed to go back and pick it up and continue where they left off. That picking up and going back to it is usually where the delay comes in. We've had situations where we respond online and within 2 weeks there's a decision, and there's other times where you respond and it takes about 6, 7, 8 months after. So I say if it's been over 6 months, contact your attorney and have them contact USCISSC. But if your lawyer is saying that there's been no update, then sadly it's just a matter of waiting.
Okay. All right, Tilly, can you please tell us where you're calling from and your question, please? Tilly. Okay, if Tilly is not ready, we're gonna call upon Michael. Michael. Okay,
Can you hear me?
yeah,
Sorry.
we can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Okay. Hello. I'm from the UK. It's
Okay.
just a quick question. If someone wants to work in the US, a British citizen, is it possible to just come in and look for a job with the British passport? Is it possible?
No, unfortunately, unless no, I'll just put it that way. No, you usually need to file for a
Okay.
visa of some sort.
Okay.
It's for my son. He's desperate to work in the US, so we don't know the procedure he has to go through, to stay there and work here.
Depending on his credentials, you might want to look into an H-1B, look into a company that'll offer an H-1B for him. That's a work visa. But all
That's
depends
the
on, that depends on his background and the company and all of that. But you can start there.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Tilly. Michael, can you please unmute yourself?
Hello, thank you. Is that good evening?
Good evening.
Yes, I have a question, and
Michael,
thank
where are you
you.
calling from?
Northern Virginia.
Northern Virginia. Proceed.
Yes. Thank you. I don't know if I could call you Miss RHODA. Thank you for your time and for your help. My question is, can you please advise me on how to apply for IR1 and IR2 US citizen?
How to apply
IR1, IR2 visas.
immediate relatives?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, one, you need an immediate relative. So it would depend on, do you have an adult child over the age of 21? Do you have a
No. Under 21, and then a spouse.
You have a child under 21 who's a citizen?
No.
Okay.
I am.
You're a citizen.
Mhm.
Oh, but you're filing for your minor child and your spouse?
Mhm.
Oh, give my office a call because it's a long process. Are they here?
No.
Okay, yeah. So give my office a call because it's a couple of steps, about 3 steps, and they take about, give or take, about 3 years.
What? I thought it was about 3 months maximum.
3 months in this administration? That's nice. No, sir. 3 months. That's nice. That'd be nice, but no. The
All right.
petition alone takes about 16 months. That first step takes about 16 months.
The IR1 and 2?
The petition, yeah, for the petition for that.
Wow.
All
Okay,
right.
so which one will you advise? Is that route, is, is that route, will that route be like will be quicker than any other route?
That's probably your best bet if you're a U.S. citizen, yes.
That is better, right? Okay. Yeah,
All
I'll
right.
give you a call. Thank you.
Thank you. Frederick, please unmute yourself.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yep, madam, please.
Frederick, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from New Jersey.
New Jersey, please
Yeah.
proceed.
I came with a B1, B2, all right?
Okay.
But then I'm probably like 9 months, 10 months on grounds. But then and I'm working with a family as a caregiver. And I spoke with the guy that he told me he want to maintain me. I told him that no. I want to find out if there's any way he can help me, and said if I should try and see if I get anything, I should let him know if things can be done. That's why I called to find out if something can be done, so that maybe I'll let him talk to you. Yeah, so that we know what to do.
So an employer can file for you, no problem.
Okay.
The issue is that because you're now out of status, you wouldn't be able to adjust your status, which means getting a green card in the United States. In order to get your green card in the United States as a person who's overstayed your visa, you have to generally, it's either marriage to a United States citizen or other very limited options. But if an employer is filing for you, in order for you to adjust your status, you have to have status. And right now you're out of status. So he or she can file for you, but you would have to go back home to do the process there to get the visa there and come back. The issue now is that you've been here more than 6 months, but less than 1 year out of status. So if you were to leave today or tomorrow, you wouldn't be able to come back for 3 years. Now, if you stay more than 1 year out of status and then you leave, you can't come back for 10 years. Do you follow?
Okay.
So.
All right. If you already, spoken, please take the emoji off so that I can see who we have left right now. Frederick, you just spoke. Please take the hand emoji off. Michael, you already spoke, right? George, can you please tell us where you're calling from? And
Yeah, I'm calling from Brantford, Canada.
yes, sir.
Yes, so I initially stated that I had a 3-month visa because of the issue that they currently imposed on Ghanaian applying for visas. So I got my visa just 2 weeks ago, and it was just for 3 months. Now, I applied for this visa way back 2023, and I had the interview date 2025 July. So I have only 3 months. Now, I do not have plans of traveling within the next 3 months because I have a new job and I'm supposed to work for 6 months before I'm even entitled to any leave days. Now, should I not go to the US within the 3 months and it expires on the 9th of October this year, if I reapply, would it affect me?
You just have to explain what you just said.
Okay.
What a beautiful answer.
Yeah. Okay.
Short and sweet.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, George. Do you mind if you put your hand emoji down for us, please, and Michael as well? Alex, please unmute yourself and tell us where you're calling from, Alex.
Thank you very much. I'm coming from Chicago.
All right.
Yes, I have a question. So I'm on the J1 visa from Ghana. That is has a 2-year residency requirement. So I would like to know, unfortunately, my employers that actually guarantee me and give me all sort of support for me to come as a school. When I left, I don't know what happened behind. They terminated my appointment at the GS. So I would like to know, is there any better chance of applying for a waiver of the 2-year residency requirement? And what are my chances? And mostly, if you apply as an individual, what time does it really take for you to get a feedback? And mostly, what is the best time to apply for? Per the contract is a 3-year with 2-year possible extension for the J1 teacher program. Thank you.
That's a loaded question, so I'll answer what I can publicly. What's the best time to file for the waiver? As soon as you can, because if your plan is to, let's say, stay in the United States and gain permanent residence, at some point you're going to need proof of that waiver, right? In some instances, I think even with some H-1B programs, you would need that waiver as well. So if you want to broaden your options in the United States, it would help to have that waiver, especially because you are subjected to that residency requirements. And if you don't want that to limit you, it's best to do that as soon as you can. How long it will take, I can't say for sure, because processing times differ. Will you be approved? I can't say that as well. I don't know. What I can say is it all depends on your basis for the waiver, right? So what I can say is apply for it. If you have a strong enough reason to get that waiver, you should be able to get it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So, Michael, I'm not sure if I called you already, but I'm gonna unmute you in case you have a question. I thought you already spoke, but then Michael, if you have another question, can you please unmute yourself? Michael,
Yeah,
did you have another question?
I have not spoken yet. This is different, Michael.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I've always thought you were the first Michael that spoke.
No,
Please
please.
tell us where you're calling from.
Yeah, I'm calling from New York.
New York. Okay.
Okay. My question is, when you have status for 2 years, and after they give you extension for 4 years,
Correct.
I would like to find out if you want to do the citizenship, would you add the 2 years and the extension, the 4 years extension? Would you, when you spend 1 year out of the 4 years, can you do the processing, or you have to spend the 3 years out of the 4 years before you can do the citizenship?
Great question. So once you hit 3 of having a green card, you can file for citizenship. So it's a 2 plus the 1 and the 4. Sounds like a math formula, but yeah.
Oh, so not necessarily I should wait for all this for a 4 years extension, right?
Just attended an interview last week for a client like that. Filed for the removal. They gave them an extension for the 4 years. It became 3 years. He had the green card. Still living and still married to your spouse. That's the key thing. You have to still be living and married to the U.S. citizen spouse. Then you can file for their citizenship after 3 years. Once you do that, you'll have a 2-for-1. So at the interview, they will do the removal of conditions and the citizenship. So you will have to attend the interview with your spouse. The citizenship.
Oh,
Yes, but you can.
okay. So I'm not supposed to wait for the end of the 4 years to get my 10 years or whatever. I can do it straight, right?
Well, no. If you file for the removal of conditions and you get the extension letter, you can just wait until they process it, and it likely will take 4 years. And then if you're approved, they'll give you the 10-year green card. That's part one. Let's say, God forbid, you're divorced from your spouse. That's what will happen. You file for the removal of conditions and you'll wait until they call you for interview. If it goes well, you get the 10-year green card. If you are still, let's say you're still married and still living with your spouse, you file for the removal of conditions with your spouse after the first year, because then you'll be the 2 plus a 1 makes it 3. You can file for citizenship. So you'll still file the removal and citizenship.
Oh, okay. Okay, it answers my question. Thank you
All right.
so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have a last caller, and that would be Daniel Dake. Daniel Dake, please unmute yourself. And after that, Lawyer, I want to ask you, are we still good? Because we got 20 more questions in the chat.
Any questions? I gotta go at 8 o'clock.
Okay, 8 o'clock. All right. All right, Daniel, please tell us where you're calling from, and you'll be our last caller before we go back to the chat.
Okay, I'm Daniel. I'm calling from Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And I'm going to be quite brief. This year, the day the new president was sworn in Ghana, and I was a software engineer in Ghana, and I work on projects that I use both in Ghana and globally, Africa and Europe. Now here, as a computer science student, graduate student, I'm also working on a startup in the health sector, but I learned that I cannot run a startup, like a registered startup that is making money on F1.
Correct.
So it means I'll need either a US citizen or a permanent resident, employ the person and give the person full hiring and firing authority, including hiring and firing me, even though I can hold all the shares, but I'm not supposed to be involved. Is that true? Or I just want to confirm my findings.
You can't work on an F1 visa. That's a student visa. So you can't work without getting work authorization from the U.S. Immigration Services first.
Okay, so if I go ahead and let's say get this person and the company runs, can I apply for my EB1 to NIW even before I complete, just to at least bring me in to also contribute, because I'm like I built everything from scratch and I'll need to contribute to the success of the startup.
Why not just file for EB2 or EB1 right away? Why go the hiring route? I would say let's take it offline.
Yeah, I mean, the self-petition, I don't know, the EB2 NIW, the self-petition.
Yeah, why not just file for that? Why hire someone to possibly take your position and fire you out of your own company when you can just file for EB2? Because it sounds like whatever it is you're doing sounds like it qualifies. If you have a master's degree and your proposed endeavor is something that's of substantial merit, I think sounds like you qualify for EB2. Just shoot for that.
All right, sure. Thank you.
All right. So we got 2 minutes. I don't think we can do these questions. Yeah, it goes. So we have 22 questions, and guys, I tried. I mean, she tried too, because she gave us an extra 30 minutes for us to ask all those questions. I want to say thank you all. In 2 weeks, we're gonna have another legal lawyer coming through. So I'll say preserve all your questions for next 2 weeks, and hopefully in the next quarter we can have Lawyer RHODA, because Lawyer RHODA always come with commanded numbers, and man, you have over 172 people still waiting and listening to you. So this presents a lot from. We want to say thank you so much for coming out. At this point, have Director A-Class sign you out, and after that, we're gonna move into our next session, which was the Q&A session with Tatapsen, where Uncle Jimmy will run that part. So A-Class, if you can please unmute yourself and sign Lawyer RHODA out, please.
For RHODA.
Yes.
For Edumapa or Yamagana Bang and the Ghana Funa Yamisha. We are so glad and pleased. Tatasen for Yeniso Baby said Osawa Daji. They be any brain now so Oba Emane yet come so Yamisha Pa. Yan for us that any that. God bless you so much. So hope to see you in the next quarter, I think. And if God permits and there's a rain on the ground properly, maybe earlier than that. Catch you up again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you very much, Lawyer RHODA. You probably gonna have somebody beat me up, because I already see comments going to PK. Read my message. I wish I could. I try to. But
we'll
again,
talk again, guys.
I know. I always say that when it comes to the legal aspect, I'm never gonna have everybody be my friend. I'm gonna have some enemies. My own best friend had a problem with me the last time that we met because his question wasn't asked. So it's okay. It's understandable. I mean, this is what we do. So I thank you guys all for coming, and also Lawyer RHODA, thank you so much for your time, and your husband for sticking around, helping us with the information as well as everything that we need to feed our people with. With that being said, God bless you and see you the next time.
Thank you.
To our viewers on Facebook and YouTube, Tatapsen Ghana, HITV, Facebook and YouTube, thank you so much for your time. We ran extensively, extra 30 minutes today is because duty demands for a good service to you, and service to God is service to mankind, and that is what we decide to do right here on HITV, partnered with Tatapsen, and this has been a very prolific 2 hours with you, and I am your host, PK Ofori-Asenso, and I will see you again next week, same time, 6 p.m. We have an awesome topic coming to you next week. Actually, we got 2 topics that we try to debate which one we should bring to you next week. So you should see the flyer coming soon. And please tell a friend to tell a brother so that we can all make it a date and meet here and communicate, educate ourselves, and inform ourselves with some great information as well. Thanks to each and every one of you for coming. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, HRETV, as well as join our family page, HRETV, and Tatapsen Ghana Facebook page. Also, don't forget to click on the HITV chat room link where we discuss topics that we want to see and hear in the future, and also the Friends of Tatapsen chat room where we discuss anything that has to do with Tatapsen as well. God bless you all. See you guys again next week. Big thanks to my producers, Nana Lord, Nanakwisi Widers, Director Danny, and also A-Class for everything that has gone through. God bless you. At this point, I'm going to hand over to Uncle Jimmy for Q&A session with Tatapsen. If you have any issues or any concerns with your app, sending money back home, this is the right time to ask it, because we have everyone, all the ambassadors, Kofi Boateng, Oba, Lady Smart, Uncle Jimmy, Dorothy, Auntie CC, Auntie Christy. Like, you have almost everyone here ready to answer your questions. So please take advantage of this and do that. Uncle Jimmy, at this point, I'm gonna